Hey everybody, welcome to eTrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Hitch Bike Racks destination for bike rack on our 2016 Acura MDX. Now guys, if you're looking for a quick, easy way of starting to get a multitude of bikes to the trailhead with you, I think the destination is an excellent option. Take a look at it. It looks a little busy. Definitely not going to have that wow factor that you might see from some of those other platform styles. However, big words that come to mind with this guy, very, very safe for our bikes. We're getting a lot of attachment points, so if you're worried about our bikes banging together, kind of making contact on each other, I think this can still be a very, very good option, as we won't have a lot of that sway that we might have with those hanging style, but we aren't tapping too much in the bank account, reaching for those higher premium bike racks. We're still getting a lot of usability out of this guy. What you can see today, we do just have a standard bike up on here. Now because we do have frame attachments, unfortunately, not going to be able to get those lightweight carbon frames up on here. That will start deteriorating our frame, as we do have frame contact. However, as we mentioned, with 35-pound capacity, can definitely get most of those standard and mountain bikes up on here with no problem. A thing I really like about it too, a lot of times you start having trouble with, your women's bikes, step-through bikes, and kiddos bikes, especially in those hanging styles of trying to find that middle attachment point. You'll notice that we do have middle attachment here on the inside, but something that's great about it is that these cradles actually do kind of rotate and really accommodate for our varying needs of our bikes. So I really like how versatile it is and how easy that actually is to use. We'll kind of break that down as we take that bike off of it. Now the rack itself, you can see, can support up to about 4 bikes. The cradle's not doing nothing crazy for us here. You can see you got a little bit of a groove in there for those standard bikes, widening out for our mountains. Definitely going to have trouble with those fat tire bikes though. As you can see, our strap not going to be anything crazy long, so I definitely would be careful with those guys. Not really meant for those bigger, beefier bikes. One thing that's cool about the versatility too, you can see that these knobs are interchangeable just in these 2 little positions here, but it definitely starts giving us a lot of leeway of putting those smaller bikes and even those bigger bikes on here with no trouble. One thing I really dig about Hitch Racks too, they always do a good job of fitting in a reflector on their units. You can see in the end here, we have these white guys on the side. What I like about that, maybe we're coming home late, it's getting dusk, we've had a long ride, we just want to get home safe, especially with the whole family in the back here. It's nice to alert everybody to where we actually are. So the rack itself, you can kind of see how it interacts with the MDX. I think it does a pretty good job of staying a pretty good distance away. You can see these wheels kind of lining up with our tail lights here. However, I think with so much distance, we're going to do a good job of emitting that light. Definitely not going to be blocking it. That way people are still being alerted. Our backup cam, going to be kind of seeing the majority of our bike here, so definitely going to lose a little bit of maneuverability with that backup cam when you start getting 4 bikes up on here. However, definitely nothing to be too crazy. Let's go ahead and take this bike off, see how easy that is to do. On this side where we mentioned those adjustable cradles, we just have a simple little ratchet strip here. Very simple, pretty standard across the industry, but I do like the little added coated rubber protectors here. Just do a good job of making sure we're not scuffing our rims as we pull this guy down. And I do like the little finger hold on the inside of that ratchet. Makes it real easy to make those nice and tight. So I'll go ahead and repeat our process on the other side. And that's going to bring us to our last attachment point here, guys. And we already kind of mentioned these cradles, and I really do like them. That adjustability just makes it real easy. We also have varying heights, right? So I can go ahead and position my bike. That way my handlebars aren't running in each other. My pedals can get out of the way. It makes it extremely, extremely easy to manipulate and actually get the kind of bikes we want up on here. Going to have pretty much the same thing of that ratchet strip on the other side. Very simple system to do. We make sure, as you can see, that bike's going to want to head and tilt away. We want to make sure we have a good handle on our bike before we take it off. And I just trying to like to get behind it here. Makes it a little easier to just control that head of the bike and just simply walk it off to the side. Real easy to get up and go. That mast kind of get in the way, but definitely nothing too crazy for us. Now, one thing that's awesome about it too, that these masts can actually collapse. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a tilt-away feature, so if you're wondering how we can actually access the back of our Acura, we will have to end up at least taking these 2 front bikes off, which is actually kind of cool because we could keep those front ones loaded if we needed to. To undo this mast, just want to come right here to this knob, loosen it up a little bit. That's going to go ahead and expose this little lever system. We can go ahead and just set that to the ground. Go to the side there. And one thing I like to do with it too, guys, I like just taking it through this extra strap. And that way I can just go ahead and make sure that this mast isn't going to be popping up on me while I have it in its put away function. So you can see that does a good job of just holding that in there. Now with any hitch mounted accessory, we are going to be adding some length to our vehicle. The Acura, definitely nothing too crazy, but let's go ahead and take a quick look at how much length we are actually adding. So from the rear of our bumper here to the end of our bike rack, going to put us right at 40.5 inches to the end, pushing a little bit past that, maybe an eighth more or so. So about 40 5/8, definitely adding a little bit of length, but keep in mind, we are getting 4 bikes up on this platform, and we do have a way of shortening that down. On the inside here, you'll see we just have a little clip here. We just want to go ahead and pop that guy out. Keep them handy, though, as we will be re-adding them in a little bit. And on the other side, we just have a little knob here, a little torque knob. Pretty good contact points, too, the entirety of it, giving us a lot of purchase. Your whole hand can kind of get around it. And I like just supporting my mast here as I get it close. That way it's not pinching itself. And one cool thing, too, it has a little cable there. So we can go ahead and let that guy dangle for a second as I use 2 hands to bring this guy up. Get him in his position and try to refine that alignment for our pin to hold it up in this position. And with a little finagling, it'll quickly go in place. So real easy to do. Definitely not the quickest, tilt-away features that we've seen from some of those bike racks, but it's still very efficient, guys. I think the carrier itself isn't too heavy to move that mast. But keep in mind, definitely having to take all those bikes off. Adds a little bit of time to that put-away feature, but very easy to utilize that knob. Now you can see we shortened down a lot of that length. Hopefully now we can get in the garage, maybe in those tight parking places. But let's go ahead and see how much we actually shaved down there with that maneuver. And I'm going to put us right under 14 inches, so about 13 7/8 to the very end of that post. Going to be our farthest point. You can already see cutting down almost 30 inches. Really going to save us a lot of space to get this in wherever we need to. As you see, though, definitely going to be covering the back of our vehicle. Our kind of backup camera here going to be just seeing our post here. We might be able to see a little bit through it now, though. I don't think it's going to be, it's definitely not right up against it, so we're still getting okay vision. It is covering our license plate, but nothing too crazy. As you can see, platform doing a good job of giving us some exposure there. Now to the bottom here, we are sitting a little bit lower in our Acura here. So I'm going to go ahead, and I just want to take it from this little point right here. I think it's going to be our farthest here. That's actually be closest to the ground, and right at 13.5 inches there, and further down the post, right at 15 inches. So 13 inches, definitely something to keep in mind. You can see that rise in the shank, doing a pretty good job of making sure we're not going to have any clearance issues. But keep in mind, as those front wheels go up, the back will go down. So it's definitely something to be conscious of. On the end here, too, with our receiver, you see we do have a 2-inch receiver. And today we've also gone ahead and thrown on an E-Trailer hitch pin alignment collar. Now these are sold separately. We highly recommend, guys, especially if you find yourself taking your carriers on and off a lot of times, especially if you're just kind of a weekend warrior. I think these are a great little additive. All we have to do is once we get that hitch pin aligned for the first time, and go ahead, throw on my collar. Now every time I back this on and off, it's going to go ahead and align that pin perfectly for me. It takes a lot of the headaches out on those early mornings. Definitely something that we don't want to have to worry about. So really like having that there. And at the end here too, you can see we do have a threaded anti-rattle hitch bolt. Now these guys are pretty standard. You'll see them a lot, but what they do is they basically bring our receiver in line to our hitch. Our hitch is therefore in line with our frame, and as you can see, as I'm giving this guy a shake, it's shaking the entire vehicle. It's one with the frame, which means we're reducing a lot of the play that we're innately going to feel as we get on the road. That's going to make a nice smooth ride for ourselves, for our bike rack, and especially our bikes. As we mentioned, I think the Hollywood Racks does a good job of making sure that our bikes are safe, and again, that's doing a good job of holding those bikes in. And in the end here too, we do just have a locking core on the back here. So from Hollywood Racks. So good way to keep our bike rack secured. Now I might recommend picking up a whole kit from Hollywood Racks that does include another hitch lock, and you can also get that key to like if you pick up that kit to some cable locks to actually secure our bikes. I think that's one thing that this guy starts failing off on. Doesn't have any innate security features other than keeping the rack to our bikes, or I'm sorry, to our vehicle. So definitely something that we might be on the lookout for, just a little added security. Well, I think the Destination does an excellent job of just getting us up and going. I mean, it's nothing too crazy. It looks a bit, kind of wonky, kind of junky with all the straps, but I think they do a very, very good job of securing our bikes. And especially once you get 4 bikes up on here, you really start seeing those features being fully utilized. Well, I think that about does it for our look at the Hollywood Racks Destination 4 bike rack on our 2016 Acura MDX. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.
Now we're going to go ahead and take it on our test course. First we'll start with the slaloms. This is going to show the side-to-side action. It's kind of going to mimic the movements that you'll see whenever you're driving down the road normally. Now we'll have the alternating speed bumps. This is going to be more so like the uneven roads and some of that uneven terrain you might be traveling on, and see how it holds up.